She was 49 years old, sitting on the edge of the bed, and she had exactly $11 in her checking account. Not 1,100, not 11,000, $11. And the electricity bill was due the next morning for $234. She didn't cry. That was the part nobody talks about. After a certain point, the tears stop coming. Your body just goes quiet. Your hands go still. You sit there, and you count the same numbers in your head that you've been counting for months, and they never add up differently, no matter how many times you count. I want to ask you something before we go any further, and I want you to answer it honestly, even if nobody else is in the room with you right now. When was the last time you checked your bank balance and felt at peace? When was the last time a bill arrived and your stomach didn't drop? When was the last time you said yes to something for yourself, something small, something that cost almost nothing, and you didn't immediately feel guilty about it? If you had to stop and think about that, this video is for you. There are 5 levels of debt, not 5 types of personalities, not 5 financial categories that some expert invented in a seminar. 5 real stages that real women live through, silently, in kitchens and laundry rooms and parked cars outside of grocery stores, where they sit for a few minutes before going in, because they need to calculate, one more time, what they can actually afford. I'm going to walk you through all 5 today, and I'll tell you about Dorothy. Dorothy found something at the bottom of the hardest level that I want you to know about. Something she did on one particular night that changed everything. I'll get to that. But first, I need you to understand how she got there, because the way she got there, I promise you, it's going to sound like somebody you know. It might sound like you. Dorothy was 52 years old, and she worked the lunch shift at a school cafeteria in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. She had worked that shift for 11 years. She wore the same white non-slip shoes every day, the ones with the slightly bent left sole that she had been meaning to replace for 8 months, always after some other expense that arrived first. The shoes made a soft sound when she walked across the linoleum floor, a small, flat sound. She knew every corner of that kitchen by the sound of her own footsteps. She made $17 an hour. She worked 5 days a week during the school year, and in the summer she picked up cleaning jobs when she could find them, because the cafeteria didn't pay her through July and August. Her daughter was 19 and had just started community college. Her mother was 78 and lived 20 minutes away and needed rides to her doctor twice a month. Dorothy's dream was not extravagant. She did not want a vacation to Europe. She did not want a new car. She wanted, more than anything, to one day rent a small apartment with a porch, somewhere quiet, with a window she could open in the mornings and just sit by. That was it. A window, morning light, silence that belonged to her. She kept a mason jar on the top shelf of her kitchen cabinet, behind the box of oatmeal. Nobody knew about that jar. She had never told her daughter, never mentioned it to her mother. It was a wide-mouthed jar, the kind that used to hold raspberry jam, and she had washed it clean and dried it and placed it up there with a small strip of masking tape on the front with 2 words written in blue pen. Mine, someday. She put money in it when she could, not regularly. Whenever she had $5 left over after everything was accounted for, she'd fold it twice and slide it through the opening. Some months the jar got nothing, but she never took from it. That jar was the one thing in her life that only moved in one direction. She was a woman who ironed her uniform the night before every shift, who made her mother's favorite soup on Sundays, who never complained in front of her daughter, who sat alone in the dark of her kitchen sometimes after everyone was asleep and did her arithmetic on the back of envelopes with a stubby pencil because she had run out of notebook paper and didn't want to spend money on more. She was the kind of woman this video is about. The problem with level 1 debt is that it doesn't feel like debt. It feels like being responsible. Dorothy had a credit card she had opened years ago for emergencies. She used it carefully. A car repair here, a school supply run there, her mother's copay when the Medicare didn't cover the full amount. She always paid the minimum, always on time. She felt disciplined. She felt like she was managing. She was not managing. She was floating, and she didn't know the water was rising. Here's how fast it went. Her car needed new brake pads. $412. The card. Her daughter's textbooks for the semester. $327. The card. Her mother fell in February and needed a follow-up X-ray that her insurance only partially covered. $180. The card. By March, the balance on that card was $4,911. The minimum payment was $94 a month. She paid it every month, on time. What she did not fully understand, and this is the part that breaks me every time I tell this story, is that at 21% interest, those $94 were almost entirely going toward interest. The principal, the actual debt, was barely moving. At that rate, it would take her over 6 years to pay it off, and she would end up paying more than $8,000 total for things that had already been used, already broken, already healed, already forgotten. She was working to pay for the past, while the present kept adding new charges. Then her hours got cut. $12 in state budget cuts to school lunch programs meant Dorothy's shift went from 5 days to 4. She lost 1 day a week. She lost about $270 a month in take-home pay. She did what women at level 2 do. She stopped buying things for herself entirely. She stopped getting her hair trimmed. She started buying the store-brand version of everything. She started skipping lunch at work and eating a late breakfast instead to stretch the groceries. And here is the small thing I want you to notice, the detail that seems minor right now, but that I want you to hold in your mind. One Sunday afternoon, in the middle of all of this, Dorothy went to church. She sat in the third pew from the back, the one she always sat in, and the woman next to her, a woman she had never spoken to, leaned over during the collection plate and whispered, "Honey, don't worry. God sees your empty hands too." Dorothy smiled politely. She didn't know what to do with that sentence. She filed it somewhere in the back of her mind and forgot it. She would remember it later, at exactly the right moment. By summer, with no cafeteria income, the card went unpaid for the first time. Then a second month. Then a third. The calls started coming. It was a Tuesday morning in August, and Dorothy was standing in line at the county assistant's office. She had never been inside that building before in her life. She had driven past it hundreds of times. She had, if she was being honest with herself, looked at the people going in and thought thoughts she was now ashamed of. Thoughts like, "I would never." Thoughts like, "There's always a way if you try hard enough." She was trying hard enough. She had always tried hard enough. And she was inside the building. The line was long. She stood with her number in her hand, a small paper ticket with 47 printed on it, and the board at the front showed 31. She stood very still and looked at the floor. The woman beside her was older, maybe 70, maybe more. Small. She wore a blue cardigan, even though it was August. Her hands rested on top of a canvas bag on her lap, folded the way hands fold when they've been still a long time, and they've learned to be comfortable with that. Dorothy didn't speak first. She almost never spoke first. But the older woman turned and looked at her, not with pity, with something else, with the kind of recognition that only comes from having been somewhere yourself. "First time?" she said. Dorothy nodded. The woman nodded back, slow, like she was confirming something she already knew. They sat in silence for a while. The air conditioning hummed. Numbers were called. Then the woman said something, quietly, without looking at Dorothy. She said it the way you say something you've carried for years and have finally found the right moment to set down. "Debt is just water that rose while you were sleeping. You didn't make the rain, but you still have to bail." Dorothy looked at her. The woman didn't say anything else for a long moment. Then she added, "The bailing is the part that saves you, not the blaming." That was all. A number was called. The woman gathered her bag and stood up slowly, and Dorothy watched her walk to the counter, and she never saw her again. But she sat with those words the entire drive home. She said them aloud in the car, alone, because she needed to hear them in her own voice. Debt is just water that rose while you were sleeping. You didn't make the rain, but you still have to bail. She pulled into her driveway. She sat in the parked car for 4 minutes. She looked at her hands on the steering wheel. Then she went inside. And this is what I promised you at the beginning. This is the part about the 5 levels. Because what Dorothy learned, slowly, painfully, through those months of going under and learning to swim back up, is that debt doesn't arrive all at once. It has a shape, it has stages, and if you can see which level you're in, you can finally understand what you're actually dealing with. Level 1, you are managing, or you think you are. You have debt, but it's quiet. You pay minimums. You feel responsible. You use the card for real emergencies. Nothing feels out of control, but the interest is growing invisibly, the way mold grows behind a wall. You cannot see it. You will feel it later. Dorothy lived here for 4 years without knowing she was already sinking. Level 2, the sacrifice stage. You start cutting yourself out of your own life. No haircuts, no new shoes, no birthday gift for yourself. The family doesn't notice because you've always been the one who disappears first. You feel like you're being disciplined. What you're actually doing is shrinking, and shrinking doesn't pay debt. Shrinking just makes you smaller. Level 3, the juggling stage. This is where the anxiety becomes physical. You check your phone before you answer it because it might be a collector. You feel your stomach tighten every time mail arrives. You start moving money from one account to another to cover the minimum before the due date. You lie to yourself in small ways. You say, "I'll figure it out next month." But next month is already spent before it arrives. Level 4, the wall. Something breaks, the car, the refrigerator, a medical bill, something that you cannot absorb, and you realize there is no room left. The card is maxed. The savings account, if there ever was one, is empty. You start making impossible choices. You pay the electric bill and skip the internet. You pay the internet because your daughter needs it for school and skip your medication for 2 weeks. You tell no one. You perform normalcy with everything you have left. Level 5, the silence. This is the level Dorothy reached, not the loudest level, the quietest. The collectors have stopped calling as often because the accounts are in collections now, and the original creditor has sold the debt. Your credit score is a number you no longer open the envelope to check. You wake up at 3 in the morning, and you do math in your head that never comes out right. You're not crying. You're past crying. You're in a strange, flat country where you do what you have to do every day and you feel nothing in particular, and you're afraid that the feeling nothing is permanent. This is the level Dorothy was at on the night I mentioned at the very beginning. The night of $11. And here is what she did. She went to her kitchen cabinet. She stood on her tiptoes. She reached behind the box of oatmeal and she brought down the mason jar. She held it up to the light. There was $47 inside. She stood there with that jar in both hands for a long time. She thought about taking it. She almost did. She unscrewed the lid. She looked at the folded bills inside. And then she looked at the masking tape. Mine, someday. She put the lid back on. She put the jar back behind the oatmeal. She sat down at the kitchen table and she picked up a pen and a piece of junk mail, the blank side, and she wrote down every single number, every debt, every account, every collector, every balance. She had never written all of them down at the same time before. She had been afraid to see them together on one page. The total was $14,219. $14,219. She looked at that number for a long time. And for the first time in 4 years, she felt something shift, not relief, not hope, something older than hope, something that felt more like, I can see the whole field now. I know what I'm walking through. That was the beginning. She did not pay off her debt in 30 days. Nobody does. It took Dorothy 14 months. The first thing she did was call each creditor. One at a time, she asked, "What is the lowest settlement you will accept?" Two of them said no. One of them offered to settle for 40 cents on the dollar if she paid in a lump sum. She didn't have a lump sum. She asked if they had a payment plan. They did. $40 a month. She said yes. She took on a second cleaning job on Saturday mornings, 3 houses, starting at 7 in the morning and finishing by 2. She made an additional $160 a week. She did not tell her daughter about the debt, not yet. She needed to move first, then explain. She called a non-profit credit counseling organization, free, no charge, run by a local church. A woman named Connie sat with her for 90 minutes and helped her build a plan on paper. Dorothy cried twice during that meeting. Connie handed her tissues and kept talking and didn't make her feel small. 3 months in, her daughter noticed something. "Mom, you seem different," Dorothy said. "I stopped being afraid of the numbers." Her daughter didn't fully understand what that meant, but she felt the change in the apartment. The air was different. Some people drifted away. A friend she had complained to for years, the one who had always agreed that everything was unfair, stopped calling as much. Dorothy realized later that she had bonded with that friend over their mutual exhaustion. When she stopped being exhausted, they stopped having as much to say. 9 months in, she was making extra payments. Not big ones, $20 here, $30 there, but they were moving the principal now. At 11 months, she signed up for 1 extra shift on Fridays. The cafeteria was hiring for extended hours. She had seniority. She got it. By month 14, she made her last payment. The total she had paid, including interest and fees, was $16,412. She called nobody. She didn't post it anywhere. She sat at her kitchen table in the quiet of a Wednesday evening, and she opened the mason jar, and she counted what was inside. $91. She hadn't touched it, not once. She held the bills in her hand, and she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not pride exactly, quieter than pride. More like, I kept my word to myself. It was a Saturday morning, almost a year after that last payment. Dorothy was finishing her last cleaning job of the day, a house on the east side, and she stopped at a pharmacy on the way home to pick up her mother's prescription. The woman in front of her at the counter was younger, maybe 38, maybe 40. She had a child on her hip, and she was talking to the pharmacist in a low voice, and Dorothy could hear just enough to understand. The insurance hadn't covered it. The total was $63. The woman was checking her phone. She was calculating. Dorothy recognized the body language the way you recognize a song you haven't heard in years. The slightly rounded shoulders, the jaw set tight, the eyes doing math. The woman said, quietly, "Can you hold it for a few days?" Dorothy stepped forward. She said, "I can cover it." The woman turned. "Oh, I couldn't let you." Dorothy put the money on the counter. She looked at the woman calmly. She said, "The debt you're in right now, it didn't come from being careless. Something rose while you were sleeping. You didn't make the rain." The woman looked at her. Dorothy continued, "But you can bail, 1 bucket at a time. That's all it takes." The woman's eyes filled. She didn't say thank you the way people say it quickly and move on. She stood there and she breathed. And in that breath, something passed between them that didn't have a name. Dorothy walked to her car. She reached into her purse and pulled out the mason jar, the small one she now carried with her, a new one, a little 4-ounce jar she had started keeping in her bag. On the tape, in the same blue pen, she had written the same 2 words. "Mine, someday." But this jar, she was filling for someone else's someday. She put $63 in her mind as a gift she had given freely, not a debt, not a loan, a gift in the direction of the water that had once risen over her. And she thought about that Sunday in church, the woman she had never spoken to before or since, the one who had leaned over during the collection plate and whispered, "God sees your empty hands too." She had not understood that sentence when she heard it. She understood it now. Empty hands are not failed hands. Empty hands are hands that are ready. And Dorothy's hands, for the first time in a very long time, were open. So I want to ask you something now. Of those 5 levels I described today, which one feels like yours? Not the one you hope to be in, not the one you'd tell someone else you were in, the real one, the one you know at 3 in the morning when it's quiet, and the numbers start moving in your head. There is no shame in any of the levels. There is no level where you are too far gone. Dorothy was at level 5 with $14,219 of debt in a suburb of Cleveland with $11 in her bank account. And she bailed, one bucket at a time. If you are somewhere in those 5 levels today, I want you to do one thing, not 10 things. One thing, write down the number, the real number, all of it on one piece of paper in one place. Not to punish yourself, to finally see what you're dealing with. Because you cannot bail water you refuse to look at. Come down to the comments and type this, day 1, and tell me one thing, just one, that you are going to do today, only for yourself, not for your daughter, not for your mother, not for anyone who needs something from you. For you. I read every comment, every single one. This is not something I say to be polite. I read them because you matter to me, and what you're carrying matters to me. And if you have a sister, a friend, a co-worker, a woman in your life who you know is sitting with numbers she's afraid to see, share this with her today. You might never know how much that reaches her, but it will reach her. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.